If your vomit ever looks like coffee grounds, you need to go to the ER immediately. Yes. Talk about the bare necessities, coffee grounds, and the immediate threat to your body, and when's the proper time to drop it like it's hot. Today, we're tackling the ultimate science conundrum, how to survive longer. All right, let's dive right in. If you see a massive explosion, turn around, cover your ears, and open your mouth. The sound, or the shock wave, is coming and will blow out your eardrums. Cover your ears. You're trying to muffle the noise because of how loud it's going to be, plus the compressive forces could rupture your eardrums. We've actually had people come to the emergency department after different types of explosive type injuries where their eardrums are just like ripped to shreds. Sometimes they heal, sometimes you actually have to have surgery to have it repaired, something called a tympanoplasty. And then also having your mouth opened is almost like, say, when you're on an airplane and you need to yawn to pop your ears. It's kind of the same idea. It has to do with different pressures that are within our body. So you don't want to have any barrel pressure that's going to cause an issue relating to the compressive forces. If you think there's even a chance you might have contracted rabies, get the vaccine. Rabies has a near 100% mortality once symptoms appear. So yes, that statement is actually quite accurate. It is something that is near fatal. If you get it, you're pretty much screwed. So yes, you go to the hospital and you say, hey, I'm concerned that I was bitten by X, Y, and Z, and I'm here to get my rabies vaccine. If you are stuck under an avalanche and you need to know which way to start digging, spit and see which direction gravity brings the drop down. Very good idea to actually spit and see which way gravity is basically. An avalanche is basically a very serious event where a lot of snow actually falls off and then starts a rapid flow of snow and can wipe out towns. It can obviously take people. The snow encapsulates you and then you're suffocated. Basically, it is just a bad event if you're stuck in it. Have a carbon monoxide detector installed in your home. It's odorless. What the heck is carbon monoxide? It is a colorless, odorless, tasteless, and dangerous gas. It's typically from gasoline, natural gas, oil, kerosene. Carbon monoxide binds to your red blood cells, to the hemoglobin, much better with higher affinity than the oxygen, and it displaces it off. So then you actually don't have any oxygen carrying capacity, and so then you're going to not have enough oxygen in your body, and you're not going to be able to breathe. And typically what ends up happening is people don't really realize they're having exposure. Typically a headache is actually the first symptom. So if you're in a home or a building and then multiple people are having headaches at the same time, get out. How to spot signs of a stroke in yourself or someone else. You need to think and act fast. Yes, you need to think and act fast. Typically 80% of all strokes are what we call ischemic strokes, meaning a blood clot is in the way, not allowing blood flow to the tissue. You think about something called FAST, okay? So you're looking at facial asymmetries like facial droop, eyelid lag. Then you think about A, so you're looking at arms. Is there an arm drift? Is there weakness? Is there paresthesia where there's numbness that you don't think is normal? Then you have S. S is for speech. If your speech is slurring, if you can't get the words out, or if the words are inappropriate. T is for time because, as I just said, time is brain. So minutes and seconds go by, you're losing literally brain cells because of the decreased blood flow to the area. Act fast, call 911, get to the hospital. If you're ever in an emergency situation and you need to call 911, make sure you specifically point someone out in the crowd of the people. So this is actually good because this way everybody's given roles. We do this in the emergency department when we have a code come in where we have to do CPR. A lot of different roles out there, and it's good to just identify, and this way you know your role and you can focus, because in chaotic situations, sometimes the brain kind of falters a little bit. If your vomit ever looks like coffee grounds, you need to go to the ER immediately. Yes. Evidence of coffee grounds is digesting of blood. It may not be, but that's the first thing that we think about. If you have a bleeding ulcer, if you have esophageal varices, they all can kind of pool into your stomach and they kind of get mixed up with the acids and get broken down a little bit. And when you vomit it back up, it could be either really bright red blood, so that's quite obvious, or coffee grounds. No signal on your cell phone doesn't mean you can't call 911. In the US, we have cell towers. Even if they're not of your provider, if you don't have service, you can still call 911. I know this is very specific to the United States. Let me know if this actually happens in your country as well. If you smell fish in your house, it could be the start of an electrical fire in your home. So I believe that's true. It could be a fire because of all the insulation, or it could be that you really just cooked fish and you have a smelly house because there's fish in it. So just make sure that you took out the trash before calling the fire department. For bear encounters, there's a rhyme. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. If it's white, say goodnight. This isn't hard fast, like 100%, but it's a good rule of thumb. So some of the colors of bears might be hard to figure out, right? Is it a black bear? Is it a brown bear? You're trying to figure out their coat. Definitely stay away from those polar bears. So injuries of bears. Do they come to the emergency department where I work? Not very often, actually. Typically bear injuries, if you survive them, are big, massive claw lacerations, maybe bite wounds, probably fractured bones just because of the force. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of pain. If someone is too hot, say heat exhaustion or heat stroke, don't give them cold water and don't suddenly move them to a very cold area. So this is good for thought in a pre-hospital setting. When somebody comes to the emergency department with heat exhaustion, we will actually do everything we possibly can to get their temperature down pretty darn quickly. We will use cooling IVs, ice packs to groins, and sometimes somebody's so altered that we have to intubate them. You can actually use a bladder irrigator, so you actually put a Foley catheter in, and you can actually circulate cool water as well to basically cool an individual, and we have cooling pads that you can do as well. If you can't find your kids or an individual in your house, don't search common places that they would be. Look in those areas, but not first, because time might be of the essence. Meaning, like, if you have a pool, is somebody in the pool? Is somebody in the freezer? Is somebody stuck in a washing machine or a dryer? Are they in a bad place that can be deadly? Versus if they're hiding under a table, they're gonna be fine. So check the most potentially dangerous areas in your house first, and then backpedal to the more common areas where somebody might be hiding. Don't mix bleach with anything but water. Yes, okay? Because there's always chemical reactions that could occur. So make sure that is water that you're mixing with bleach to maybe dilute it. Make sure you're not mixing it with other chemicals, especially like ammonia or vinegar, because they produce toxic gases. If you really want your house clean, just stick with one ingredient. Don't start mixing all different types together because you can actually hurt yourself. When somebody shouts duck, don't question it and just duck. When somebody's actually shouting duck, there means that something is flying in the air that might be coming your way. And the most important thing is to get down, to make yourself the smallest amount of object, because you don't know where it's coming from. You know, you got to be really careful. Flying objects could break bones, knock you unconscious, cause intracranial bleeding, a lot of different things. So just make sure that you get down when somebody says duck. So that is it for these scenarios. Actually, quite impressive that people know a lot of this stuff, but hopefully you'll never have to use any of these. But if you ever find yourself in an emergency situation, at least you have some knowledge of what to do and you won't panic. So if you guys have any other situations that you want me to react to or that you know of, send them our way. And as always, check out this playlist right here. Make sure you binge watch everything, and please hit that like button, turn on your notifications, and subscribe for us. Thank you so much for watching, and stay healthy, my friends.